Did we lay down the base already?
Yeah, we've been recording for about 5 minutes of you looking up chicken fries.
They're so good, though.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
Wow. Apparently, we love TV, movies, and chicken with rice, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week, will Zemo be the villain to Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe chicken and rice will be their villain, Mike.
Jeez.
The Rise of Skywalker teases the Knights of Ren.
Chicken with rice.
There it is. How will Deadpool debut in the MCU?
I don't think KFC should be selling rice. I'm just going to say that right
And
now.
more. So, preface this, or post-face this, Mike has been thinking about chicken fries all afternoon.
I just ate them before we started recording. And I was looking up. I don't know if anybody else remembers this. I can't tell for sure if this was like late 90s or maybe early 2000s. But when BK originally came out with the chicken fries, they had like this rock song that accompanied the commercial. But the rock song was like very familiar to something else that was already on the radio. But I can't even remember what it is, and I tried to look it up. And then Chris decided to show me a KFC commercial where Hodor totally sold out to sell some chicken and rice. Which is disturbing that the KFC is selling rice.
Yeah, it's in England. It sound like it was in England, and they're all asking for chicken and fries, which they don't even serve chicken and fries here, Mike. So
yeah, I sincerely hope the guy that plays Hodor made a lot of money doing that ridiculous commercial, because he earned it for really selling his soul to the Colonel.
Yeah, so we've been listening and watching that for way too long to get this show started, because this is what we do. We do a lot of things. So we are here to talk about superheroes. But I have to give a shout out to somebody here. We're on Memorial Day weekend, by the way. Happy 3-day weekend, people out there listening to us on your Monday. If you want to, you can save it till Tuesday on your drive to work. Whatever floats your boat. But I gotta give a shout to listener Andrew B. Bags. We call him Bags. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. Bagnera? I don't know. He moved down to the Louisville area for work, and I'm giving him theater suggestions. So hopefully I get to hang out with him sometimes. Used to go to college together, so I know he's listening right now. Shout out to you. Good luck moving this weekend, and hope to hang out with you soon. But
nice. That's a good shout out. I just recently emerged from the wilderness, and I feel like I've been gone for a really long time because I took a few days away from the office earlier this week. And so there's some of the news that we're talking about this week. I don't even know what happened because I wasn't even connected to the internet or social media. So I'm going to learn today along with the rest of you. So this will be fun.
Oh, I'm very, very excited to have you here, Mike. I couldn't think of anyone else I'd rather have on the show. But yeah, happy Memorial Day weekend. I had to go out of town today, so I've been out of town, floating around. Gonna work in the house tomorrow. Been working outside the house all week, so I'm excited. But I gotta share a story about Aladdin that Mike barely knows. Because
I was deep in the heart of Yosemite National Park and getting like random text messages from Chris that's just like, they're not playing the right movie, what's going on? And I was like, I'm gonna have to follow up on this in a couple days. Yeah,
so this week Aladdin came out, and occasionally my wife gets to choose the movie we go see for the week, and it was Aladdin, of course. Honestly, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I had very low expectations. It met them and a little bit higher, to be completely honest. But at the IMAX screening of Aladdin at 6 p.m., they start showing some really funky trailers.
Okay.
Did you see the trailer for the movie Anna? The blonde?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, because she's like an assassin hit woman. Looks like some generic model turned into an assassin kind of thing. So the Anna movie, and then the next movie after that was Angel Has Fallen, the new Gerard Butler.
Oh yeah, that trailer was ridiculous. I remember seeing that with the drones that come.
Yeah, the drones are coming in. Obviously, you tried to kill the president. That kind of, oh my God, has his country turned his back on, one of those stories. And then they did a Gemini Man, the next Will Smith movie. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Maybe they're just pushing some IMAX-only trailers. Mm-hmm. And then they show It Chapter 2 trailer. And I don't know if you've seen that trailer or not,
That trailer is spooky, and there's a naked old lady in it. That is not appropriate in front of Aladdin.
And it was about this time, I'm like, this is not adding up. All these trailers I've seen were literally in front of John Wick 3. And then the movie starts, and it's that roller coaster company, and I'm like, oh my god, they're playing John Wick 3. So we watched all these R-rated trailers and started an R-rated movie, and by the time I was like, because I realized this before anybody else did, cause I was like, I just watched John Wick 3, I know what I'm seeing. I was in the front of the lobby, and I'm like, look, John Wick is showing in Aladdin, and you could just see the panic on the guy's face, I told.
Yeah, because if they don't run fast enough, there are some high-paced action scenes at the very beginning of that movie, so he only has minutes.
Yeah, I was like, and he pulls up the microphone, and was like, we got John Wick in Theater 4, and you're like, you just hear the ripple of everyone in the whole building, like just turn and whip their heads, like, oh no. By the time I got back to the theater, they had already cut it off, and it was like black. But I was like, my wife was like, yeah, you missed some very interesting stuff. But apparently, it's because they stream the videos, they download them, and like they leave it up to the corporate scheduling. Like they have no control over if it accidentally doesn't click over, right? So it was an interesting learning experience. But I got to see a part of John Wick before Aladdin, and I never thought I'd be in one of those theaters that played the wrong movie on the opposite end of the spectrum, you know? I also have to add, I was literally sitting beside a guy 2 seats away who brought in a brown plastic bag from like a dollar store or something, like a dollar. He like bought something at a Dollar General and brought it. I'm like, oh, he brought in candy, whatever. Whips out a fully popped bag of Orville Redenbacher popcorn. He has popped at home. And opens that bag inside the other bag and proceeds to eat the popcorn. I was like, gosh, what kind of movie-going experience am I going to have this week? So I had to share my thrilling adventure of watching Aladdin Wick Chapter 3.
It sounds like you made it out safe on the other end, Chris, so you can't complain too much.
No, I had a good time. I don't care either way. I was there to watch a movie, and Aladdin was, really not horrible, not as bad as I thought it was. The stuff they show in the previews doesn't do it any justice, I think. So I think they're just trying to play up this stuff. Hey, remember this from the 90s? Mm-hmm. Here's our live action version that doesn't look as good or sound as good. But it really wasn't too bad. Except that Will Smith does a rap for the movie at the end, and I had to leave. I was like, no, I can't sit here for this. He was with DJ Khaled, and I'm like, gosh. I can't do this. I have to go somewhere else. But yeah, that was my theater going experience of the week. I'm telling everyone I can about this. It'll never happen again. So had to share it. Mike, did you go watch a movie this weekend?
Yeah, when we got back from the woods, we went and checked out this brand new movie in theater called Booksmart. Or maybe it's Book Smarts. I don't remember exactly if it's plural or not, but it's directed by Olivia Wilde, which I had no idea until the end credits started to roll, so I was pretty shocked to see that, so that was really cool. I don't know if she has a lot of other directorial credits on her name, but she did a really good job with this film. The local theater we usually go to only has 8 screens, which is completely dominated by like Endgame and Aladdin and other movies out right now. So we had to go to a different theater just to see Booksmart because I believe it's an Annapurna Pictures film. So it's not exactly like an indie film, but it's definitely a much smaller movie. So you might have to go out of your way or maybe wait a couple weeks before you can go check this one out. But it's hilarious. I mean, everyone's comparing it to Superbad because it runs along the same themes, but I wouldn't say they're trying to bite any of their style or anything like that. It's just about a coming of age, like crazy one night story for these 2 girls in high school, and it's honestly like drop dead hilarious. It's so funny. It's this generation's Superbad, so I would go check it out. They subvert a lot of tropes that you think are gonna happen because by now everybody's seen like 1,000 different types of high school kind of party movies, but this one does really good job. So go check it out. Go check out Booksmart. It's really hilarious. I think it's getting really, really good reviews right now too, which didn't really motivate me to go see it. I just saw the trailer one time, and I was like, wow, this actually looks really funny. So now I'm kind of crossing my fingers that that next summer comedy, I think it's called Good Boys. Have you seen the trailer for that?
No.
Oh, it's a rated R film starring like 3 best friends, and they're basically the age of the Stranger Things kids. They even tell them to like piss off in the trailer. Like some guy goes like piss off Stranger Things, and they ride off on their bikes. But all the jokes in the trailer are hilarious because it's always funny to see like 10, 11-year-olds like swearing and stuff, and they don't really understand what Molly is. They think it's a person, but it's actually a drug. So surprisingly, it's really, really funny. So I'm looking out for Good Boys 2 later this summer. So we're kind of getting into the comedy zone of the movie scheduling year, because usually those comedies come out in the summer, and they always got to compete with these big juggernaut films out there. So go check out Booksmart. I'm sure you've seen Avengers Endgame 2 or 3 times already, so now you can go see Booksmart.
Yeah, I think I was on the other end of this, and that's what I told Mike. I was like, I've been inundated with Booksmart ads because there was early showings and all this other stuff. So by the time I got, like, he told me, I was like, I don't want to see this. I feel like I've already seen too much of it. But yeah, I did see last time I checked, it was like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it might be pretty close still, which, the way they changed their review scores, you never know what that means anymore. But but yeah, it sounds like it. You have any other plans this weekend? Anything you're doing tomorrow worth mentioning?
Memorial Day, we're just gonna go check out some cookouts with some friends, and just planning my next video game playthrough session. Chris is recommending the new God of War game. I'm kind of looking at maybe going back into a catalog and trying the Uncharted games, the Drake games. They are going to be making a movie here soon, so it'd be helpful if at least one of us were intelligent enough to at least speak on it in some way. So maybe I'll look at it as research. Maybe I can write it off my taxes in some way. But we definitely had a lot of news this week, so I'm ready to jump into it.
Well, it's time to do it, because we've been lingering on way too long talking about other things like chicken fries. So our weekly, I'm going to do the top of the show for you, Mike. Our weekly Avengers Endgame box office update. Right now, they've adjusted some of it. It was supposed to be in July before Endgame could pass Avatar. Right now, it's looking like Labor Day, being pushed back a little bit to beat Avatar's numbers on the thing. Simply because we had a lot of May movies rise up out of nowhere to really take hold of this. And I've got it pulled up right here. Right now, it's sitting at $2.67 billion. Avatar's $2.78 billion. So, it is 101 million away from getting there, and I think it's getting like 16 million a week in the U.S. right now. International could probably push it over. I don't know, but I think there's going to be some interesting tricks that Disney does to keep this in the theaters a little longer. Maybe some extra screenings with Spider-Man.
Yeah, they'll definitely get some synergy with Spider-Man. They'll be doing like back-to-back marathons. They'll keep that in the zeitgeist. Luckily, probably the next really big runaway hit that's not Disney owned, I would think this summer would be Hobbs and Shaw. That's a Fast and the Furious movie. It's got The Rock, one of the biggest box office toppers you got. But that's not until August. So they do have a little time to start raking up some cash during the summer. But I would think once Hobbs and Shaw comes, they better hope that they're very, very close to the number they want to reach, because that's going to suck up a whole lot of box office dollars for sure. But yeah, they were very confident about Endgame beating these numbers. I've seen some people trying to tweak the story into a very sensationalized headline of like Avengers Endgame surprisingly underperforming. It's just like, no, that's not it at all. The movie is still extraordinarily successful for what it is. There's just a slight chance that it might not be the number one movie ever made in the history of mankind. So I think that's okay.
Yeah, and honestly, like we said, we've talked about it here. Avengers Endgame had a lot of upfront money. Like, it holds all the opening and first and second week number records by a long shot. Avatar had a really, really, really long box office stretch and no competition for like the first like half of it or more.
Yeah, and we can't forget it also had the novelty of a 3D screening as kind of being its like gimmick. Oh, you gotta see this movie because this is how movies are going to be made going forward with the 3D. The Avengers didn't really have the opportunity to manufacture a gimmick. Their gimmick was, we just made movies for the last decade. Come see this one. So it'll be cool if it can manage it, but it's not that big of a deal if it doesn't. Disney Plus is still getting my money, so they won't be too sad.
Yeah. Well, and also Avengers made 5 times as much as Avatar's opening weekend alone. Like, it was only 77 to 350 million. So
yeah, put it this way: if you're in your head worried about any sort of awkward conversations that the Russo brothers might have with James Cameron at their very fancy cocktail parties, I wouldn't worry about the 3 of them. I think they're all fine, and they all have like golden jacuzzis, and they're probably eating all the flavored milk they could ever want.
Oh, Jesus. Maybe they're ordering their own personalized chicken and rice dinners, Mike.
Yum, yum, yum.
Gosh. I really kind of am hungry, though, but that's we're going to shift gears into future Avengers projects, and I think this strikes personally. This is personal to me, Mike. And
I was thinking about you when I saw this.
And I know you're going to fix it before we post it, but you spelled a word wrong on our title right now. So I will tell you which one it is later. But it'll be fixed by the time we post this. But Marvel is reportedly looking to make the Ultimates team a movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, and this kind of feels like they're filling the gap of not having really the Avengers anymore, because that's basically what the Ultimates are in the Ultimate comic book universe, is they're basically the Avengers. And I'm sure Chris will stop me before I say anything stupid, because
I'll let you go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. You own every single physical page of the Ultimate Universe, don't you?
That is correct.
That is like ridiculous. So Chris here is our expert at Superhero Slate for all things Ultimate. So this is very, very good for the podcast that the MCU would start to shift into the Ultimate Universe, because we have our very own expert right here in the making.
So there are 2 iterations of the Ultimates that I will tell you about right now. The original iteration is the Avengers, and the Ultimate Universe is essentially the Ultimate Universe. For a quick overview for everyone, it started in 2001 with Ultimate Spider-Man, and it essentially bypassed 60 to 70 years of comic books. I'm like, this is starting now, and everything going forward is the history of this universe. You don't have to read all the comic books to get here. It's kind of like a clean slate. Ultimate Spider-Man went on to be one of the biggest selling series of all time.
Yeah, written by Brian Michael Bendis, right?
Brian Michael Bendis, all of them, all 200 something issues. We got Miles Morales out of the Ultimate Universe as well, from Into the Spider-Verse. So that's set in the movie version of the Ultimate Universe, which doesn't line up with the comics, but like that's a good example of the Ultimate Universe working. Nick Fury in the Ultimate Universe was designed after Samuel L. Jackson, and then they went and hired Samuel L. Jackson later to be Nick Fury. Like, this set up so much of our current Avengers history that they can't really create the old Ultimates team again, because it is literally the Avengers in the MCU.
And also the Ultimates in general, the Ultimate Universe was slightly more adaptable than the original kind of Marvel 616 universe. I've seen some people kind of describe the Ultimate Universe as a little bit more grounded in reality, I guess, as much as you can ground a superhero universe in reality. But basically, like in the 616 universe, you have Galactus, this giant man who will literally come and eat your planet. That really doesn't fly at the type of tone that they're setting in the Ultimate Universe. So Galactus kind of ends up being more of like a hive mind alien robot kind of race. So you can kind of see the differences that they kind of split there.
Yeah.
So I could see this working well for the MCU.
Yes, but here's where it's going to get really fun for you. In the past 3 to 4 years, they've created a new Ultimates team. After the events of Secret Wars, which merged the Ultimate Universe with the main universe, the new Ultimates team consists of Captain Marvel and Black Panther as leaders of this team of interdimensional cosmic threat level force-stopping power team.
So help me understand this, since you literally laid down the word multiverse there. We got different universes here. So when the Ultimate Universe folded in with our normal 616 universe in the comic books, was there overlap? Was there doubles? Like, was there a panel where you'd get like two different Thors or like two different Captain Marvels on a page, or two different Caps? Or did they just conveniently kill off one Cap in the Ultimate Universe and then have another one ready to go?
The Ultimate Universe was essentially erased, save for several, like a handful of people who are different enough to be in the main universe.
Gotcha.
Miles,
so they just
Miles Morales was carried over. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. So with this whole multiverse thing, it makes me wonder: are they going to pull in? Like, I really don't think Tony Stark or Captain America, Chris Evans, is going to come back. You know, they've really set them off to sail like the end of Lord of the Rings in this universe. So I would imagine if they're going to pull characters over from another universe, it's going to be characters we haven't seen before. Yeah. Or it could be maybe different kind of variations of them. Maybe we could get another, Iron Man, but maybe it's just a different person that is Iron Man,
Yeah, well, I mean, that could, speculation here. What if Far From Home, what if that Mysterio is an evil Iron Man from another universe? Ooh,
that's some speculation there.
That's some fun stuff. But that's just, but yeah, like, they're not going to pull over like, hey, we want, but it's also a way for them, like, hey, if we want to bring Chris Evans back, we could say, hey, here's a Captain America from another universe. But I don't think they're going to go that route. They don't really deal so much with other universes, more than like shoving villains into other universes that need them. I think at one point they tried to put Galactus in another universe to just get him out of theirs. But I mean, so on this team they have the character Spectrum, which is actually in Captain Marvel. There was her friend's daughter, Monica Rambeau. That's who that is in this universe. The character Miss America, which I think one of the people from Brooklyn Nine-Nine wants to play the character. She keeps teasing that. And the character Blue Marvel. So other than Captain Marvel, who is a white woman, all these other ones are mixed race people. A very diverse group of teams. So it's very much an interesting way they want to do this, to deal with cosmic threats and have more diversity in their teams that they're promising coming forward with these group of people. Now, will it be exactly identical to the comic books? Probably not. But there is a different Ultimates team that is a new group of people that have a different set of tasks ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, if they are going with kind of more leaning into the Ultimate Universe, this just gives me another opportunity to really go to bat for an evil Reed Richards, which is one of my favorite parts of the Ultimate Universe. Obviously, you've read it way more than I have, so I'm sure you have a lot more favorite moments than I do. But I just love the twist of finding out that the Maker was Reed Richards all along. And I think we all, in general, love kind of descents into madness when it comes into pop culture. Breaking Bad, we saw a good guy go bad, and it was very entertaining. We kind of saw that go the same way in Game of Thrones with a few characters. So I like this idea that, we could introduce the Fantastic Four, and we think they're all good, and then over the span of a couple movies, we kind of just see Reed Richards just kind of go crazy, just think that he has the answers for everything because he believes he's smarter than everybody else. We can finally see somebody very intelligent go the opposite way, because we've seen Tony Stark and Bruce Banner try to save the world. Now we could bring in kind of a multi-dimensional kind of villain that we're familiar with. And you don't have to build up some sort of big, gigantic alien from the other side of the galaxy that's going to come and disrupt Earth. We can just have an Earthling do it. So I really hope that we get to see a creepy Reed Richards. So this is always good when the Ultimates comes into news.
Yeah, I agree. The Ultimate Universe has tons of stories, different takes on characters, different iterations, and if anyone's looking for a fresh take or something that has a very limited run in the universe that's still up to date with modern times, that's a great way to do it. The first 6 Fantastic Four issues are mind-blowing as well in terms of Fantastic Four. If anyone has any questions, you let me know. I've got all the books right here on a shelf behind me.
Yes, he does.
I can reference them. But in terms of the future Marvel, other than the Ultimates, we're talking about the Disney Plus shows. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a mouthful to say, has been reported that Daniel Bruhl and Emily VanCamp will return as Zemo and Sharon Carter, respectively, in this upcoming show.
That's cool that Sharon Carter's getting back into the mix. There's a good chance that she probably wasn't going to show up in any more movies. She was, I don't really know if I'd call her a B-list character, but she did kind of get pushed to the side once the Winter Soldier film had wrapped, even though she was related to Agent Carter.
Well,
so
she was in Civil War for like a scene.
Yeah, that's true, a little bit.
She did a kiss and then moved along.
I mean, she was kind of being pitched as a love interest, but now since Cap is gone, maybe she's going to have... Maybe they're just going to show that she can do other things even when Cap's not there to swoon over. But this is exciting to see Zemo return. Mm-hmm. I can only assume that maybe there's... I saw some people theorizing that maybe he could be like a Hannibal Lecter type of situation. They go to him in prison to ask his advice on maybe how to catch somebody. I'm kind of hoping he breaks out of prison. I love prison break movies. I love prison break episodes of TV shows. So if they can just give me one really cool episode where Zemo like breaks out of prison, I just think that's so interesting. And also as we've seen, this dude is crazy resourceful. So even if he was like literally in the raft, I could see a guy like him breaking out of the raft because he has shown that he has an immense amount of patience. So he could be like, oh, there is like one opportunity to slip through by this camera or through this floor grate or whatever, but I have to wait 6 months until my opportunity comes up again. I could easily see that happening. So I'm hoping for Prison Break.
Yeah, well, I mean, also, I think maybe he could be working with someone on the outside who might be like an even higher villain or like maybe a sub person to Zemo once he's escaped. Mm-hmm. Be a good chance to maybe get him the official Zemo costume, the big purple face mask with the glowy eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I'm dreaming here. I'm dreaming. But they've hired Kari Skogland, who is known for doing lots of episodes of The Handmaid's Tale, as a director for these upcoming episodes as well.
Well, that's good. My wife really loves that show. I haven't really seen any of it, but I know it's basically Hulu's Diamond, so she must be pretty good.
Well, series hits a little too close to home for me to feel comfortable watching it. But so she, that's really awesome that they're gonna do that. One director for all the episodes, I think, is a great approach to it. And then the rumored release date's August 2020 for this one.
Oh, it's so far away. This is probably going to be our... Wait, no. Loki is probably still going to be our first series, right?
Loki was the first one, I think, announced. So, yeah, I feel confident about it.
Okay, so hopefully we don't have to wait more than, 14, 15 months to get one of these shows. So
we are almost through the year. It's probably Jessica Jones Season 3 will be the first Marvel show on Disney Plus at this rate. So... You remember Jessica Jones has a season 3, people? I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. It's not done yet. But we also have another Marvel show working called WandaVision. And how's this show going to work? We don't know at this point. But it will be the first series reportedly to reveal Wanda's reality manipulating powers. And these will evolve kind of as she goes through the show. So, it doesn't just give her a new power set and says... Good luck. Hope you understand it.
Yeah, this is one thing that I've always been curious about. Wanda in the comic books is categorically 1,000-fold more powerful than we've seen her in the MCU. So she can just do some crazy stuff that I think would be a stretch to see her try to just automatically be able to do in a TV show. So, if she's manipulating reality, maybe she just goes crazy, or she gets really depressed and maybe she invents a reality where Vision is still alive, and maybe that's where our series takes place. But that does seem kind of strange. I mean, what was it? I never watched the show, but I think it's Dallas. Wasn't that the one there where they erased an entire season and they pretended it was a dream and it never actually happened? So that's one thing that would worry me if this whole season is just all in Wanda's head. So it's oh great, why did we even watch it if none of it really had any consequence? So who knows? It still possibly could be a prequel. They were hanging out in some European town before Thanos's team showed up on Earth, so it could be there. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening here. Vision's supposed to be dead. He didn't come back.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of her powers is bringing back him or bringing back a vision of the Vision. And yes, you were right. It is Dallas which did that show. I mean, I was thinking Roseanne first, but I was like, it's probably Dallas. But yeah, so Yeah, so WandaVision's coming. I mean, I don't know what to expect out of a lot of these shows. These are going to be the first of their kinds, heavily tied into the MCU at large, but limited series on Disney Plus. So I'm very excited to see how they do this and go from there. The big question is, now that Fox is under Disney, how do you get Deadpool in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after his breakout success with Ryan Reynolds? Mm-hmm. And we're still owed one more movie with him. But the rumor right now is, and you take all this with that grain of salt so large, you put it in your margarita, that he will be introduced in the Spider-Man Far From Home sequel for the MCU version.
When you say Far From Home sequel, are you saying the movie that's coming out this year or the third Spider-Man movie?
Far From Home is this year, so the sequel to that. So Spider-Man 3, essentially. The sequel to this year's. Yes.
I think it's fine if you maybe cheekily reference that Deadpool exists in the MCU, like maybe, I don't know, like Wade Wilson at large on like a newspaper or something, but I don't think Deadpool needs to be in any of these movies. Like, I don't want to watch like an Ultimates movie where Ryan Reynolds is there. I as much as I think it would be great, I think his performance is going to basically suck everything out of the room because he's so funny and so hilarious. It's almost going to be like he's in the wrong movie. Like, you know, we saw the end of Endgame. We saw that gigantic battle. It would be kind of weird if Deadpool was running around there too, chopping people up with a sword, just making funny quips. It doesn't really quite resonate with the tone there. So I think it's fine if you just keep the Deadpool movies moving along as usual, but just give him the opportunity to now make more direct references or bring in actual actors for one-off jokes from the MCU movies now, since it's all under one big family. Yeah, I don't think Deadpool actually needs to be on like a Black Ops mission with like some undercover Avenger, you know?
Well, I think maybe that's okay. Yeah, I agree with you there. But every time I've seen Deadpool team up with Spider-Man, they even have their own ongoing comic book right now called Spider-Man Deadpool. It is quite the bounce off from a young kid who's like very quippy and not fourth wall breaking, but you know what I'm saying, like he's very like talks to himself with Deadpool. I remember specifically an episode of Ultimate Spider-Man, the cartoon show that came out several years ago, with Deadpool in it, where they're facing off against Taskmaster, like teaming up, and it's very interesting. It's pretty funny, actually. I really enjoyed watching that, but I think I don't know. I mean, the Deadpool is an interesting thing. I think if you put Spider-Man and Deadpool in one movie, and this is probably what their thoughts are, that is the biggest box office return you're going to get out of both of those characters.
I kind of think about it this way. So the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie we got, Homecoming, technically Iron Man Tony Stark was in the movie, but he wasn't a big part. He wasn't like a huge part of the film. He kind of just moved the plot along a little bit, you know, gave Tom something to do. I could see maybe Deadpool is like in New York, Manhattan, trying to get something done. Maybe he's trying to break into some sort of secret facility to break somebody out or to steal some sort of item, and then like Spider-Man busts in and thwarts him, and then he has to, like, you know, they can trade, you know, some dialogue there. It could be a really funny scene, it could be really great, but then Spider-Man moves along, he goes on with his day, goes on saving other people, and then Deadpool continues with the story. That's kind of what I want to see.
Do you think, I guess my question, do you think Deadpool needs to adjust to live in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like, do you want to pluck him exactly as he is and place him in there? Or do we need to evolve him a little bit more? Maybe more back to his comic book roots.
I think any sort of evolution of Deadpool, I think would just take a lot of time, and maybe we're not ready for it. You know, the nice thing is, to adjust to this new universe, it's very easy. All you have to do is have him look at the camera and go, guess what? I'm not at Fox anymore. Now this is a Disney movie. And then he puts on some Disney Mickey Mouse ears, and then, you know, he walks into the next scene, and there you go. Now he's in the Disney universe. But I would imagine if they really wanted to fold him in a thoughtful way, you have to wait until the X-Men are introduced. You have to wait until you can until you have the whole, structure of what mutants are and experimentation, and then you're probably gonna have to recast Deadpool. So, but that's gonna be years down the line. So I say we just make 1 or 2 more really awesome Deadpool movies. Let Ryan Reynolds have his fun. Let him be really creative and have the control that he wants, and then just sail him off into the sunset, just like we did with Hugh Jackman and Logan. So that's what I'm down for.
And then recast him.
Yeah.
So, but also they're also mulling the idea of a MCU based solo movie or a Disney Plus limited series as options to introduce their version as well.
Just bring back that animated show that you were gonna make. Like, you have 2 streaming platforms now, Disney. If it's a little too mature for Disney Plus, just put it on Hulu. You're making all of those other animated Hulu shows. So just get us Deadpool. You're making that anyway.
He would be very good in the Offenders. Like, he would fit very well in that group of offenders. So I agree. Put him in there as well. Chalk up things that may or probably not going to happen. Did you see that Make Solo 2 happen is twinning on Twitter?
Yeah, I saw some. I also saw the Instagram I saw the hashtag up on Instagram too. Did this come out of nowhere? Did Disney buy this hashtag? Did they walk into some high school and push over a stack of $20 bills to some teenagers to tell them to get this hashtag going? Who wants this movie?
I went on a rabbit hole down the internet to find out where this happened, and there is no clear way of where this started or where this happened. There was a huge retweet for something called the Resistance broadcast, which was like a podcast for Star Wars fans, and they have shirts on that says "Make Solo 2 happen," and that was really about it. So
I mean, I could see this maybe coming off the tail end of Game of Thrones, because this Emilia Clarke was in Solo, so maybe they want to see where her character goes, since Darth Maul was at the end of this movie.
It was also the 1 year of Solo since last year.
Okay,
that might have been it as well. But like, that was like when it bumped and like just took off out of nowhere.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to be very careful going forward with Star Wars. They've had a couple bumps in the road, which is probably something Disney didn't think would happen. They had this property, they knocked it all out of the park with Force Awakens. When it comes to critical and box office reception, they thought they could do no wrong, and then all of a sudden they did a couple things wrong, made people very upset. So I could see maybe some of these characters returning outside of a Solo movie. I mean, you're going to have The Mandalorian, you're going to have probably other Star Wars series, maybe have these characters show up there.
Well, I don't think Solo was a problem. I think they oversaturated Star Wars way too quickly for what it's worth. Because some people love Rogue One. I don't hear a lot of people hate Solo. They just didn't think it didn't have much of a life, like right after Infinity War and other stuff like that. But like,
or they just didn't go see it because it didn't get the box office numbers that they thought they'd get.
Well, right. I mean, yeah. I mean, whether box office numbers determines whether I go watch a movie isn't my cup of tea. But what if they put this on Disney Plus? What if they do a limited series to just wrap up these characters and actors? Because I mean, I want to see what they were going to do with Darth Maul, and Emilia Clarke now needs a job. And what was that character, Enfy's Nest, like that came out of nowhere? Maybe they give her a couple things. I'd like to see kind of what they're doing, but I don't know if I need a whole movie for it. Maybe just make something real quick on Disney Plus, like a 6-episode Solo series. Wrap it up. We're done. Move along.
As I often say, nerd's gonna nerd. So hashtag's gonna happen.
I want to see the Darth Maul, man. We gotta have the Darth Maul come back, but who knows? They're giving those Game of Thrones people their movies, and those are probably going to suck too, so we'll just keep on waiting. But the Rise of Skywalker is happening this year, and I'm excited to see one more Star Wars to wrap it all up, supposedly. And a magazine came out this week and gave us some images and some information, but I'm very excited to announce the Knights of Ren will get a lot of screen time and play a key role in this movie. So we get that little mystery box to come back. Are you excited about those dudes?
I don't know. We don't know anything about them, so.
But do you want to see them? Was it like a thing like you saw them like, oh, I want to see more of these later? So
yeah, sure. I hope they all have lightsabers and they all have they all have just some like badass lightsaber fights, because that's what we like about Star Wars, or that's what I like about it. I want to see those lightsabers. I want to see some cool Force action. I don't know if it's been like confirmed anywhere in some sort of like wiki or offhandedly by some director or writer, but are the Knights of Ren the Skywalker's students that left after Ben destroyed his hut or whatever?
They've not said a word. We don't even know if they're Jedi or have lightsabers at this point.
Gotcha. Well, I hope they have lightsabers. I hope they have Force powers. Hope there's some lightning. I want to see some cool, badass Star Wars action. So if the Knights of Ren deliver, I'll be down.
Mm-hmm. Our new Saiyan planet, our third one, if anyone's keeping track, is not Tatooine. It's not Jakku. It's Pasana.
There's always got to be a desert planet. Does anybody ever go to a planet in Star Wars that has like different biomes? Like a swamp on one side of the planet, a desert on the other side.
Well, there's more than them saying. Like every planet is defined by one topographical feature. Mm-hmm. Hoth is ice. Bespin's clouds. The forest moon of Endor. It's either Endor or the moon. I don't know, but there's forest on it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. What's that one in Attack of the Clones? It's all watery with all the clones they make on it. So there's a lot of them there. And then also, Luke Skywalker is going to return somehow. Looks like it might be a flashback. Maybe when the Skywalker training went to hell. Maybe it's a ghost vision later. I don't know. But we are not done with Luke Skywalker yet, sir. We are not done. His name is in the title. We have to.
I guess if you really want more Mark Hamill on the big screen, you could go check out Child's Play. Man, that trailer looks so awful. Have you seen the trailer for the new Child's Play movie?
I have not, but I've seen the posters right after I said, hey, they should make fun of Toy Story 4. And what do? They make fun of Toy Story 4 in their posters.
The posters are kind of funny, so props to their marketing departments for figuring that out. But they're going this awful route where the doll is actually controlling like Alexa smart home types of devices, and like it seems to be like they're going at an angle that like maybe a microchip like malfunctions inside of the doll, and Mark Hamill does the voice of Chucky, but it looks so bad and not in a good way. So I'm not a big Child's Play fan, but yeah, if you want more Mark Hamill, I think it comes out probably in like September, so there you go. Hold on a little bit longer. It's
actually June, and do you know how many Child's Play movies are in the original series?
Jeez. 7.
There is exactly 7.
Hey, nice. I've only seen the first one and parts of like maybe the Bride of Chucky.
Yeah, so like there's like several Child's Plays, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and just 2 years ago was Cult of Chucky. So it's this, man, I don't know if I've seen any of these, so there we go.
Well, to let you know, the first one, the way the doll comes to life is this bad guy uses a voodoo spell and it transports him into the doll, and then he's trying for the whole movie to get out of the doll using like a reverse voodoo spell. So I guess they're throwing voodoo out the window and going with Amazon Alexa technology, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll ask her when we're done. Hey Alexa, how do we become a Child's Play Chucky doll? She might let us know. Speaking of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, the video game series, or maybe just the time period in Journal of the Old Republic, is getting a movie script written by Leda Kalogridis, who wrote the Avatar movie for James Cameron.
That sounds like the name of a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Leda Kalogridis.
Kalogridis, yeah. So that's really cool. So they're writing that. This movie, apparently the script is almost done, like almost completely done, and it's set. The Old Republic is set about 4,000 years before the formation of the Galactic Empire, so the episode 3, just to fill you in where it is. And this is probably the first script of the one for the upcoming 2022 movie.
And you would have known that if you are subscribed to the podcast, because we talked about this a few weeks ago where we looked up the timelines of Knights of the Old Republic and compared it to Lord of the Rings. So this is the furthest setback prequel that may have ever been. So unless you consider like a random like prehistoric dinosaur movie, could really be a prequel to any movie ever made if you really think about it. So
like We're Back, a dinosaur story.
Yeah, maybe. So Knights of the Old Republic. Let's see what happens. Why not?
I'm gonna be honest. I have never finished those games because I got very confused early on. So maybe I need to revisit those. They have them on iPad now, so I might even have it on Xbox. Xbox One might even have them. So I might need to go replay these, Mike. So
Well, I think you'll find a way.
I will find where there's will. There's a way. In terms of space things, not prequels, but sequels much later, Star Trek is getting a Picard series set, like, what, how many years? 15 years after the original show ended?
I don't know. I just like how you categorized it as space things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we're not Trekkies over here at Superhero Slate. We just vaguely know that the series ended on a farm, and this teaser trailer picks up from a farm. I guess he's been making wine, which I thought there was no need to make anything in the Star Trek universe because they had like a machine that could make anything that you wanted, right? Wasn't it called like a replicator?
Maybe that's just on the ships. Maybe that's not on the, I guess, the ground planes. Maybe he's trying to get away from tech. I didn't see any technology. Maybe he's trying to get away from it. Didn't he deal with the Borg for a while?
I think he just wanted to get drunk and didn't have a replicator anymore. So he's like, damn it, now I got to grow my own grapes if I want to get wasted. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about Star Trek.
And for any Trekkie listening, I want to see if I'm right. I told Mike he shouldn't be growing grapes. He should be growing tea leaves for his Earl Grey tea that he drinks in the show. I think I'm correct.
Maybe he just doesn't have the right climate on whatever planet this is.
If you can grow grapes, you can grow tea leaves. I'm just going to call it right there. That might be.
I have no idea. This gives me a moment to talk about a pet peeve, something that's really been annoying me lately. It's trailed off since Game of Thrones is now over. But just because you've never watched anything before that's popular doesn't make you any more interesting than somebody that has seen it. So I've never really seen a whole lot of Star Trek. I've never really seen The Next Generation. But I don't go around bragging that I've never seen a single episode before. It's just really, really annoying because everybody was making the same trite joke last week during the series finale of Game of Thrones. People in my Twitter feed were like, "Hurdy-durdy-dur, I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones before, and man, what is happening? This is bananas." So I just want to say, you people out there are not interesting. Watching or not watching something doesn't make you clever. So I'm going to do my best to not sound impressive for never seeing Picard and Star Trek before.
In fact, I feel bad for not seeing Star Trek. At least some of it. Like
I've only ever heard really great things about it.
It used to be on the when I had the rabbit ears growing up. We had like 4 channels, and this was always on right after a current affair went offline on one of the channels. And I'm like, I should probably watch this, but I usually just turned on the Nintendo and played Mario.
Well, it's a little bit more of a thinking person show. So when you're a kid growing up, like unless you have very specific ideas of what you want to be entertained by, Star Trek probably maybe wasn't for you when you were a wee little lad.
Yeah, but I mean, I tried to watch, I think, the Star Trek movies once. Because I'm pretty sure, and someone's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, I'll have to look this up later. One of the movies dealt with Picard having a younger clone played by Tom Hardy, and they were part of the Borg. So,
all right.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of Star Trek history out there and a lot of shows, and we've not watched The Next Generation, but I was going to say that this version of the character looks an awful lot like Professor Xavier. With his turtleneck, and was he in a wheelchair or not? I could not tell. Yeah.
There you go. Those are our hot takes on Star Trek.
Yeah, there's our video. You can go watch that. The Terminator series is getting a new movie. I think this is the 6th one in the franchise, but technically it's a sequel to T2, Judgment Age. So this is the 3rd one. And it looks kind of all right.
Yeah, I have such mixed emotions when it comes to the Terminator franchise, because my brother and I believe we owned the VHSs for T1 and T2, and we watched them over and over and over and over again. Probably T2 more than anything else, since that was more of an action film. And the first Terminator movie was a little bit more dark, a little bit more grim, a little bit more brooding and science fiction. So I've just seen them so many times. And then when the 3rd one came out, I was like, what is going on here? All right, God. Maybe there's some stuff happening here. And then they went to that one in the future with Christian Bale. And then I didn't even see Genesis because I wasn't even going to give it the time of the day. So I have been just pulled through the ringer with this franchise. I never got around to watching the TV show, even though I heard the TV show was actually pretty good.
I like that show.
But I never saw it. So James Cameron's coming back. I mean, Linda Hamilton's here, looking badass with these really big guns. She's obviously the only one that realizes you need the biggest gun possible to kill a Terminator. We have who's the guy that played Ghost Rider that's playing this baddie?
Gabriel Luna, who plays Ghost Rider and getting his own show on Hulu. It plays the Terminator, which looks like a cross between the T-800 and the T-1000. It's like got a metal skeleton with the metallic thing over it. It looks like you make a clone of his body while also keeping the skeleton running remotely as well.
Yeah, they did some. They went with the matte black skeleton. It makes it look even extra creepier. So yeah, I mean the stuff in here looks cool. I mean, who knows? I feel like they definitely haven't. They haven't earned my respect yet. They have to undo a lot of movies here, but that's literally what they're trying to do. So I don't know, Chris. I'm very, very cautiously optimistic.
So let me put it a little bit. So this is the first movie. James Cameron did not have the rights of any of the movies until this one, after T2, because of the studio. So this is the first one back with James Cameron, and the director is Tim Miller of Deadpool 1 fame.
Yeah, did he jump onto this movie as soon as he was done with the first Deadpool, since he didn't return for Deadpool 2?
He did the Love, Sex, and Robots and this at the same time.
Oh, yeah, he was producing those anthologies. So, yeah, I mean, everything there is what you want. So that has a lot going for it, but they just they got to win back some of the fans.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I hate Terminator 3. I really, really like Terminator Salvation. Genesis is confusing as hell. And this looks like a mixture of Salvation and Genesis. Because is that one girl a robot or a human? Or what? And
I mean, that does seem like it seems like a logical step for the franchise to take. They just didn't do a very good job the first time they brought it up.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just there's a lot of questions about this, but hopefully they don't give away any of the twists throughout the whole thing. I would love to not see a twist in the trailer.
I just hope they don't do any really dumb AI, like Alexa smartphone jokes, because I feel like that's the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to the society crumbling. They're like, oh, we're gonna blame it on our Google Homes. That's what the problem is.
That was the last one. They were building an operating system for all the phones and computers. That was Genesis.
That's dumb.
They've already done that. They had like 3 times. If you ever get a chance to Sarah Connor Chronicles, starring Lena Headey, who was Cersei in Game of Thrones. Funny enough, Emilia Clarke was also Sarah Connor in the last Genesis movie, so it was a game of Sarah Connors, if you will, in that TV show. But the TV show, 2 seasons, also has what's her name from Firefly. Can't think of her name.
I can't think of her name either.
But really good show. Really, really enjoyed it. I think it was one of my favorite sci-fi TV shows for a while, but it had a huge budget, so it didn't work. But Terminator coming out later this year. We're going to talk about 2 movies for not next year, but 2 years away. John Wick 4 already has a release date.
Yeah, boy!
The third one brought in the most money at the box office out of all 3 movies. In fact, so much they're showing it at Aladdin screenings right now to make more money. But May 21st of 2021, we will see John Wick 4. So in 2 years.
I love this film franchise. It's so much fun. And it's good that they're spacing it out every 2 years. It gives you time to not be overwhelmed with the action franchise. It's almost like after a year gap, you kind of forget about it a little bit. You're just like, oh yeah, John Wick's a thing. And then you finally see a teaser trailer roll around. You're like, holy crap, he's back. This is amazing.
Well, it's like the off year for Fast and Furious, you get a John Wick movie. Mm-hmm. So I think this is if you don't want cars racing and fighting, you watch a John Wick movie.
I will say right now, I'll debate anybody. John Wick franchise is heads and shoulder above any Fast and Furious movie ever made. So go see John Wick 3. Go see it.
But Fast and Furious has 30 movies, so...
Boo! I don't care. You only need 3 John Wick movies to beat every Fast and Furious movie.
We'll see what you're saying after Hobbs and Shaw. We'll see what you're saying after that. But that's also the same release date as Mike's... So excited for Akira from Taika Waititi. It gets to come out May 21st, 2021 as well. Confirmed date from, I think, is that Warner Brothers who's doing that one?
I don't even know. The weirdest juxtaposition of creator and IP I've really ever seen. The May release date is interesting because they're really thinking that this is going to be a summer movie. That is prime date real estate right there, May 21st. I mean, think about the movies that just came out this weekend around the same time. We got Aladdin. Didn't Brightburn also come out this week?
Brightburn came out this weekend.
Yeah, we got to go check that out. I think we should talk about it on the podcast, at least in some capacity, since it's so Superman related. But yeah, this is the most curious movie that's going to be made in like the next decade, so I got to see how this turns out.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the weekend. So Akira kind of reminds me of Matrix, so seeing John Wick or Keanu Reeves not in a Matrix movie is going to be very interesting to see, but yeah, whatever, it's coming out. But in that note, just to be safe, Warner Brothers pushed back DC Super Pets one extra year away from that to May 22nd, 2022. Now, mind you, I know Art Baltzar, the creator and writer of these comics. He's a great guy and owns a comic book store. I love him. I see him every time I go to C2E2. But I don't know who was clamoring to watch DC Super Pets, the animated movie.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't write it off so quickly because Teen Titans Go to the Movies was one of the best movies I saw the year it came out, which I thought something I would never say in my entire life. But I would assume DC Super Pets is going to be 3D, I guess.
No,
not 3D, but like it's not going to be 2D animated, is it?
It might be. The way it's drawn is very two-dimensional. So I think it could very easily be like kind of like Teen Titans. Yes.
Oh, I was kind of thinking Secret Life of Pets, maybe with capes though.
No. The way the books and stuff that have come out are very flat. If they go with the books that I've seen it's based on, so.
Well, I guess we'll see. Everybody loves dogs and cats, so you cannot put that away when it comes to box office revenue. So DC Super Pets, let's see what happens.
Yeah, dogs, cats, there's a kangaroo, a seahorse, a monkey. I mean, you name it. They're in there, Mike. You can get them right now. And lastly, in what I don't consider news, Sonic the Hedgehog pushed back 3 months to February 14th, 2020 for redesign.
February, that weird rated R date right there for Valentine's Day.
Do we even have anything in February 2020?
I guess movies? Is probably not. Maybe they saw an open window. I mean, there could be a Marvel movie within a few weeks of it, possibly.
Yeah,
maybe
it's May.
In March.
It's May for next year.
But I'm not surprised it got moved. They gotta get
Birds of Prey.
Well, they gotta get a Sonic looking right. So,
yeah. Bloodshot and Kingsman prequel look like the biggest ones that month.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. This is a very interesting. That's all I can really say.
It's not very interesting. It's not even interesting. Don't give us the luxury of that.
No, the whole thing is crazy. This whole thing, like all it took was upcry from social media to totally upend this film. Like just think about it. If this movie if people just for some reason didn't feel like they wanted to go shout on Twitter, this movie would still be coming out November 8th and there would be no redesign and it would still be out there in the world. But the internet spoke and it pushed the movie back by 3 months. I think that's pretty impressive.
Well, I also think the reviews and ratings from Detective Pikachu that literally came out the week after this trailer is enough to be like, look, maybe this is our competition now. We shouldn't just half-ass it. Because, like I said, video game movies are either... There's been no great video game movie. Detective Pikachu is probably one of the best ones. I've heard the new Tomb Raider was really good too. But... Sonic the Hedgehog it doesn't even look good. The story doesn't make sense.
This just goes to show you, every other studio, take note here. When you're taking precious IP and translating it to the screen, you better make sure it is done right. And if you think about it, like, Sonic was literally designed to be iconic. They were competing head-to-head with one of the most famous plumbers on the planet, Mario. So they created this character from the ground up to compete with that intellectual property, with that branding, with everything. They made him blue because Mario was red. They wanted to do basically the other primary color that they had to
Mario
do.
Didn't go fast.
Yeah,
Sonic
so
goes
it's
fast.
Exactly. So it's just like you gotta nail it because everybody knows exactly what Sonic looks like, even if you have never played the game. That's just how iconic he is. So Take Note Studios, stop fucking up our video game movies.
Yeah, make it as true to form as possible, and don't make it lifelike, because we will forgive something that's not like that. Looks like human legs on a blue hedgehog if he looks like the game version. Yeah,
every Pokemon in Detective Pikachu looked exactly like their Pokemon in the game. It just fully rendered at all. They just gave it fur, gave them scales, gave them like reflections on their skin, and then they just rotated them into 3D. So just do the same thing with Sonic. It's not hard.
They were unapologetically real too. Like Nintendo did not like. Nintendo does everything very well, and their quality control in that was on point for that studio in them. So I'm glad they did that. But Sonic is getting 3 extra months. I want to see the redesign. Like, I want them to just show us what it's going to look like now.
Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to take. I mean, obviously, I feel like by now they've probably landed on what the design needs to look like. So how long do they wait until they re-release a new trailer? Like, they've done this before where movies have been delayed and they've recut it to maybe take a different feel or change it from a dark movie to a lighter movie or add different music to the trailer. This is going to be the first time we've ever seen a movie just uniformly change the way it looks. They're basically almost like recasting a character, it feels like, because they're just changing the way he looks. I mean, even with Alita, we were kind of tracking the CG of her eyes and the way it was polished over the production schedule for that film, but it was always just tweaking things. It was never just categorically changing the look. So this is going to be fun to track for sure. I'm already seeing all of the side-by-side posts on social media of like old Sonic and new Sonic. What do you think? Which one is better? So maybe end of summer. We'll
None of them. That's my answer. They all suck. Cancel it. Save us some heartache later. But now we have to watch this. We have to watch this now, right? Like,
oh yeah,
for
sure.
Jim Carrey better be really good.
He won't be.
Yeah, he won't be. Thank you for that reassuring statement. Well, Mike, that's our show. We're going to end on a great note there with Sonic the Hedgehog. I got nothing else. You got any other news?
Go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated series. People out there on the internet are trying to find something to replace the Game of Thrones in their heart. Go watch The Last Airbender.
Tell people what I'm watching. Tell people what I'm filling that hole with.
What are you filling that hole with, Chris?
Remember the One Punch Man anime, the dub version of it finally.
Yeah, they're finally airing season 2. I don't know if they're airing it dubbed or if it's just
right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait another decade until it gets dubbed. But
so One Punch Man, I've watched it with the anime subtitles, which it is a parody on superhero shows all the way around,
and also parody on anime in general too.
Yeah, but like that humor in it doesn't come across on just reading subtitles. With the English dubs version, it is really, really hitting me hard. Like, I'm like, oh, this is way better now that I'm hearing it with the intonations and the tone rather than reading it. So I've really been enjoying it. I think there's only 12 episodes in the first season, and so I've been kind of just going back to those late at night while it's on doing stuff.
Gonna start adapting to the One Punch Man workout.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not.
Just a bunch of push-ups and sit-ups. That's all you need to become the strongest fighter in the universe.
Yeah, 100 of each a day. So, but yeah, it's pretty funny if you get a chance to watch it. And you don't have to be into anime to enjoy it. My in-laws really think it's funny as well. Yeah, that's what I'm killing my time with to fill that hole. Other than Avatar. So how about this, Mike? If I had to choose Avatar: The Last Airbender to watch because I've never watched it, or The Next Generation, which one would you tell me to do?
Avatar: The Last Airbender, because it's my favorite thing ever. So that's going to be my vote.
All right. How many episodes are in that show?
It's 3 seasons. Each season or each book, I think, roughly has 20 episodes, but they're half hours, so it's not too daunting.
61 episodes is what I'm seeing right here.
Yep, there you go.
Did they have a movie to go along with it? Other than the live action?
The last episode, I think, is a 2 or 3-parter. So I remember when they pitched it originally on Nickelodeon, the promos were saying like it was a movie, but it's really just like a 3-parter episode.
Okay, all right. I've never watched it, so maybe I'll do one of these two things and just Just get it done. And are they doing this on Netflix? Is that my understanding?
I don't know exactly where The Last Airbender is streaming right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it's up on Netflix again since they're doing the live action one.
I meant the live action adaptation.
Yeah, the live action is coming to Netflix. So I would hope eventually Nickelodeon would put the streaming rights for the animated show back on Netflix because it used to be there. Then they took it down, I believe, to sell their Blu-ray remaster, which I bought because I love the show. So I don't know if it's back up streaming anywhere yet. I think it was on Amazon Prime at one point in time. But just go get it. It's worth any dollar you have to spend.
The Last Airbender is on Amazon Nick Hits. You can stream it on Amazon right now.
All right. Well, there you go.
And Amazon channel, whatever that means. Anyway. All right. Well, we've dragged this on long enough. Mike, people want to know what you're up to this week, how you're enjoying your short work week. Where can they find you at?
Well, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter. And you can read my web comics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, see what you're doing with your backyard, what DIY stuff you're doing, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, VALDAN, or on Instagram, Valdan87. I did work on my backyard, putting up a pergola this week. You know what a pergola is, Mike?
It's fancy. That's all I know.
It's like 4 posts and a roof, but the roof is made out of individual just bars of wood.
The roof is made of individual bars. There you go.
Of wood. Yep, exactly. So people are like, why? Don't you want a whole roof? I'm like, no. I want just half a roof. That's all I want. My wife wants to hang lights off of it. Or you can head over to Comic UI. Summer's kicking off. Gonna be watching a lot of movies. People want to talk movies. Let me know. We'll watch them. Not just superhero movies. We'll watch all sorts of movies, like Aladdin, Wick, Chapter 3. But anyway, Mike, people want to know more about Superhero Slate and where they can buy some chicken fries. Where can they find it at?
As always, all you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. That's the best place to find all the avenues we host our show and to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to check out those trailers that we talked about, or if you just want a quick recap of everything we chatted about with time codes, we got show notes at superheroslate.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. What did you think about Aladdin if you checked it out? If you were lucky enough and you went and saw Booksmart in your theater, what did you think about that? We want to hear your thoughts. You should go read The Ultimate Universe because Chris is an expert in all things Ultimate, so go check out some of those comics and then tweet at him. I'm sure he'd love to chat about it, so reach out. We love hearing from you. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, if you want to be a super fan of the Superhero Slate, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here all summer long every week. So check us out and subscribe.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mike, for that lovely outro, and we will catch you guys next week.
All right, gobble gobble chicken fries.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
What? What did I just watch?
I don't know. Here we go. We're going, though. We're going to jump in with you in this mood.
Oh, my God.